So let's go ahead and finish off these screencasts on Boolean operators with a practical example of how we can use them in code. Now, in order to do this practical application, I have created a completely impractical scenario. I've invented a country that has some arbitrary rules on whether or not you can vote in that country. And for my code, I need to determine whether or not the person in this country can vote. And the rules that we've been given for this code is that in order to vote in this country that I've invented, you need to be over 18 and male. Females don't get to vote, with one caveat. If you're married, then you do get to vote, whether you're female or male. So, and regardless of your age, if you're married, you get to vote. So we need an if statement that's going to evaluate that information and run the specific code that we want to run if this person can vote. Now, as we talked last week, here is the condition inside the two parentheses is the condition under which this if statement will run. As we talked when we did last week, we did simple arithmetic in there. For example, age is less than 18 or age is greater than 18. And if we had a variable here called age and we had collected the information about their age, then this would all work. But let's say that we had these variables instead, these booleans, and wanted to do a similar thing. Well, we could just come in here and say we can check for the first condition. We can say if is over, once again, typing problems, if is over 18. Now, as we said, the stuff in here has to evaluate to true or false. If you just put in a Boolean variable in there that is set to true, then this evaluates to true. So in this case, if we just said if is over 18, they can vote, and this code would run. But we said that you had to be male and over 18. So we need to do our Boolean operator of the AND. Now this statement here will ensure that both of these things are true before this code can run. So both of these have to be true. If either one of these is false, then the entire thing will end up being false, and this block of code in here will get skipped over just like we worked on last week. Now we need to go ahead and take this a little bit further because we talked a little bit about, or we mentioned in this fake country, that if you're married, then neither of these two are required anymore, and obviously we've passed whatever test this country has in order to get married to make yourself eligible to vote. And in order to do that, we needed to say or is married, right? Because we said it's an or statement. Problem with this though is, you've got order of operations. Is it is male and is married and over 18? We need to be very clear inside of our condition here what we want on one side of the or and the other. So this entire statement here has to evaluate to true, or this one variable has to evaluate for true in order for the code to run. So in this case, it would run if we came in here and said false is male. This and is still going to evaluate to true because, or excuse me, this and now evaluates to false because one of the booleans in the and is false, which makes the whole thing go to false. But the is married is still true, and we've got the or in here, so this block of code will continue to run. If we came in here and set this to false, now once again, this is going to, well, now the code is going to fail to run because we've got is male is equal to false, which means this side evaluates to false. Is married is false, and so both sides of the or is false. This block of code will not run. Now, just to finish this off, I just wanted to show you one last thing, that you can mix and match, because the total point of this condition in here is whether it evaluates to true or false. So anything that evaluates to true or false can be used in this statement. So the things that we did last week can be mixed and can be mixed in here with that. So for example, if we replace this is over 18 with an age is greater than 18, same thing can happen, right? So in this case, age is greater than 18 is going to evaluate to true. The is male is going to be false. If we set that back to true, then now we're going to get a true here. We're going to get a true here. So this whole side is going to evaluate to true. This side evaluates to false. But since one side of the OR is true, this code runs. So I hope that kind of helps clarify how we use these Boolean operators or the logical operators inside of our JavaScript code, how they can be useful, and how we can mix and match what we did last week with what we're learning this week. So I hope that helps. Have a great week.